Hi, and welcome back to Lesson 10 in our course, Mastering OEE in Manufacturing. Today we'll talk about proven strategies around navigating the implementation of overall equipment effectiveness solutions. Properly navigating the implementation of overall equipment effectiveness solutions and practices is crucial for boosting productivity and sustainability. This lesson offers a practical strategy to help you implement OEE solutions for sustained manufacturing excellence and profitability. The framework used in the lesson is called the highway solution, a methodical approach that streamlines the deployment of production monitoring systems like FactBird. It's spearheaded by Mikkel Ralph Simonsen, Senior Manager of Plant Optimization at Danish Crown, who has first-hand experience in rolling out FactBird across more than 40 sites. So let's dive in. Step 1 is just simply getting started. The initial phase involves selling the foundation for successful OEE implementation. Here, you focus on fundamentals, start seeing data, and start using the system. This includes configuring and calibrating sensors and establishing baseline data capture protocols on production lines. You'll want to begin with getting a good introduction to your OEE solution and holding meetings with stakeholders to get buy-in. This meeting is not a one-time event, so be aware of information overload and the need to recap and allow time for questions. From a management perspective, the focus should be on creating a structured plan, introducing the solution, discussing needs and possibilities, and finally discussing sensor placement. This is critical because it ensures a strong start for the new solution and future establishment. When you incorporate technicians into the discussion, the focus here is ensuring successful data collection. Technicians' expertise is critical because they have the know-how to install hardware and ensure reliable signals. When you involve operators, the focus here is to use their experience to map stop causes. It's critical to involve operators and utilize their daily experience with your equipment, while also empowering them with the ownership for the future success of your improvement efforts. Other than the vital task of getting stakeholder buy-in, you'll want to lean on customer success experts from your solution vendor to help with setup. This will include tasks like deciding on sensor placement. Here's where you want to decide what you want to measure. Creating stop categories and stop types. We recommend getting input from your OEE solution vendor on the typical categorization of stops for your industry. And of course, also working with your operators to facilitate that discussion. Other important steps in the getting started phase involve the setup of your new solution and checking that the data is being collected. So you'll need to name lines based on a standardized naming scheme, such as organization _ country _ site _ department _ line. You'll also need to retrofit plug-and-play IoT devices and sensors and integrate with existing production data like SCADA or Kepware. Make sure to check that you're getting signals to your OEE cloud software. You'll also need to set stop duration targets, add shift schedules, and set sensor standards. So you'll see here an example of standard operating procedures regarding sensors at Danish Crown. Formulating and practicing simple tasks like these will help improve the reliability of your solution in the long run. Step 2 in this process is about stop registration. So a vital aspect of implementing OEE is defining and registering stop categories and stop causes. These categories represent the events that lead to downtime in your manufacturing process, while the causes pinpoint the specific reasons behind these events. So here, you can see how we typically define stop categories at FactBird. By carefully defining, categorizing, and standardizing stops across sites, you can gain actionable insights to drive OEE improvements effectively. Here's an example of a good process for kicking off stop registration in production. Step 1 is the training of super users. They act as a contact person for fixing local issues in your OEE tracking solutions and out in production. Step 2 is configuring input devices, such as tablets with stop categories and causes. Step 3 is going live, to ensure you have quick ROI on your OEE tracking investment. Step 4 is on-the-floor training and starting the registration of stops. 5 is training and feedback sessions with operators to improve the accuracy of data entry. Step 6 is training and feedback sessions with managers to make sure the data is utilized correctly. Step 7 is performing ongoing follow-ups to deepen usage of your OEE tracking solution. At FactBird, we suggest starting with a maximum of 20 main stop causes. By starting with basic categories like material jam, you keep operators engaged, don't disturb their work, build good habits, and record useful information. As your organization gains experience and accumulates data, you can refine your stop causes by breaking down the initial, high-level categories into more specific causes. For instance, you can further delve into material jam subcategories such as label jammed on roll, cardboard jammed in folder, or product stuck in extruder. This level of granularity allows for a more precise understanding of the root causes behind stoppages. Step 3 in this process is around data validation and visualization. Ensuring the integrity of the data that you gather is crucial. The activities in this stage focus on validating and then making sense of the data. So first, around validating data quality. It's important to regularly check data to ensure accuracy. This can be done at a frequency of every second and fourth hour, for example. You'll want to check things like, are all stops registered? And are the stop causes correct? It's critical that operators continue to register stops correctly, as you need valid data to be able to make improvements. Once you've collected data for around a month, it's a good time to analyze unregistered stops, OEE scores, and the top 5 downtime categories with your solution vendor. Then, decide on what needs to be improved going forward and figure out what data could further help your teams. Next up is building dashboards. Now it's time to build and introduce dashboards that display relevant data for your teams. We recommend being selective in the data that you show to executives, managers, technicians, and operators so you don't overwhelm them. It's best to start with simple visualizations and improve them as your teams become more mature. Once built, monitor usage of your dashboards as users begin to conduct root cause analysis and check that they understand them and are utilizing them correctly. Step 4 in this process is batch management. So not every product is the same, and manufacturers nowadays work with hundreds or thousands of SKUs per plant. Managing and analyzing production batches at the SKU or item number level allows for a more detailed OEE analysis. You will get a proper view of your OEE when you are able to distinguish between products that vary in speeds, say 200 pieces per minute versus 300 pieces per minute. To get batch management working right in your OEE tracking system, you'll first want to make sure that you have a structured plan for your batches in your ERP system. Then, where possible, it's best to integrate your ERP system with your OEE software, rather than relying on manual input of batch information. Automated data flow helps improve reliability and visibility while also saving time. Once integrated, it's a good idea to conduct a time study by measuring how long it takes to produce a certain number of units within a batch. A time study can help verify that your OEE system is correctly tracking production rates and performance. In FactBird, it's possible to automatically detect batches based on their speed. This only requires a signal that sends the item number of the product, 100 for 100 pieces a minute, for example, and a signal that changes whenever the first signal changes to signify a new batch. Now you can track performance variations across batches and identify more optimization opportunities. Step 5 is about adding intelligence. When rolling out solutions, it's generally best to start simple and gradually add complexity. This is a stage where you can introduce that complexity after mastering the fundamentals. The key here is to keep looking for needs that aren't being fulfilled and new opportunities. Then decide on what is feasible, implementing and monitoring solutions, and facilitating the sharing of knowledge across the organization. Adding intelligence to your OEE system and processes could involve the following solutions. 1. Introducing predictive maintenance to reduce equipment downtime. 2. Introduce video monitoring of lines to find the root cause of equipment malfunctions quicker. 3. Incorporate an AI copilot into your OEE software to streamline analysis. In essence, this final step is about continuously refining and improving processes related to the use of OEE solutions, ensuring that progress never stagnates. And that's it. I hope you got some useful ideas and strategies out of this thorough lesson on implementing OEE analysis into your organization. Join me in the next module where we dive into some examples of OEE in practice. See you next time.